The imam has agreed to move the mosque. We have agreed to cancel our event on Saturday. And on Saturday, I will be flying up there to meet with him.
We're back. That was the pastor Terry Jones down in Florida saying he has got he's called off the burning of his the Quran because he said the mosque will not be built. He says that a deal has been struck with the imam up in New York to move the proposed mosque that is said to be built near Ground Zero. Reuters, by the way, right now, in direct conflict to what the pastor just said on the air there, is reporting that sources close to the New York imam say there is no deal. MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell's with us. He stayed with us, and along with White House correspondent Savannah Guthrie. Let me ask you, we're also joined right now by the Washington Post's Eugene Robinson, who's an MSNBC political analyst, and Ryan Grimm of the Huffington Post. You've had a long history as an editor. And I'm deadly serious about how news develops here. This guy, if you listen to him closely, I don't want to speak disrespectfully of a man of the cloth, but there was a little bit of murkiness in what he said. It's going to be difficult. He has to move the location. Yeah. He may well have gotten the word from the imam, some perhaps dissembling. I'll be glad to meet with you on Saturday. I'm glad that you're open-hearted about this. We're going to talk. And now we're getting the word that there's no deal, because it sounds like there isn't.
Well, Reuters is reporting. Reuters is a credible news source, and the pastor, frankly, is not a credible news source. I thought there was a bit of dissembling there.
NBC, I'm just getting through my ear, Gene, through the magic of television. Now, NBC, my network, and Reuters are saying no deal. All we have on the other side is this minister who wanted to burn the Quran to cause a stink and a war, maybe, saying otherwise.
He actually has kind of a checkered past. He spent all those years in Germany and heading a flock over there in which he was. He seemed to have been more of a cult leader than a minister, as you and I would think of him. He's not the most credible.
Well, he's
news
found a local imam to back up his story, right? How do we put all this together as it happens?
Well, if you notice, during his press conference, he said, I didn't speak to the imam, my friend. He pointed to somebody who was off camera. So he was even disavowing the conversation with the imam himself, just saying, well, I'm traveling to New York. It sounds like your suspicion is the right one, that there probably will be some meeting in New York. They might hash out some soft something. But the idea that the imam over the phone committed to this guy is a pretty incredible one.
Lawrence, this seems like a feeble local attempt at shuttle diplomacy, if you will, without the help of George Mitchell or Henry Kissinger, where you have a one imam talking to another imam saying we're going to talk, but it may be a little difficult to move, but they've agreed to do it. It sounds like it's one of those things where different people are saying different things to different people, but NBC is reporting at this moment, as is Reuters news service, there is no deal to move the mosque.
Chris, I've never had a hardball prediction come true so fast. As soon as I heard what this guy said, I mean, I didn't believe a word of it, said so, and that of course it would be disproven within minutes just by reporters making phone calls. Of course, there's no deal. I mean, this has been well thought out. The community center in Lower Manhattan, the op-ed piece that the imam wrote in the New York Times made it very clear that it wasn't going to be moved. And the notion that the single most ridiculous person to enter this dialogue would suddenly be the one who got this thing to move, who got, the previously impossible to happen, was absurd on its face. I mean, the guy wanted to get out of this. He desperately, came up with some words to get out of doing it on 9/11. Now that we will be showing that there is absolutely no deal, that everything he just said is untrue, maybe it's back on. Maybe he's going to hold the Quran hostage, for a couple of more days on whether or not he burns it. But I mean, obviously there was no deal, and no one should have thought there was a deal based on anything he said.
Savannah, let me get back into this story here as it's developed today. Those watching this story, listening on the radio today, have heard throughout the day the White House trying to find a way to stop this. The minister obviously felt some pressure from the outside. He's not going to tell us what it is. He felt it. Do you know what the role was of the FBI today or any federal officials in addressing this situation on the ground?
Well, the FBI, of course, put out one of its alerts, which some say are somewhat pro forma, but alerts about danger if this were to go forward. We know the State Department has issued a travel alert, so the concern is real. It's not hypothetical. They're very concerned. We all know what happened in Denmark with the publication of the cartoon depicting Muhammad disparagingly and what happened after that. So there's a very real concern here. And I think that the government, the State Department here at the White House, they've really been struggling with what they can do within the bounds of the law and, frankly, the Constitution, but also not wanting to set a precedent where everybody who's got an axe to grind, everybody who's willing to do a publicity stunt somehow gets an audience either directly with the president or even just gets the president's attention. So I think it's been a very difficult situation for this administration. And as I said, there was an expectation that Secretary Robert Gates from the Defense Department would be calling this pastor and asking him not to go forward with those protests if that call happened. We haven't been able to firm that up yet. And of course, we just showed the tape with the pastor. He certainly didn't mention that as the reason for calling off this protest.
Ryan, you're in the business. Huffington is online. We live in an online world. It's like we're all in the same big swimming pool, and somebody threatens to throw a dead rat or a live snake in the pool. We're all going to pay attention, right? There's no way to get away from that snake or that dead rat or that live snake. And that's all you have to be, is somebody standing by this global pool and say, I'm going to throw this thing in, and everybody's going to feel it.
Well, this loony is breaking all the rules, though. The way that a crazy person is supposed to become famous nowadays is to do something nuts on YouTube, and then everybody forwards it around for a week or so. Then it winds up on cable. Then people start talking about it. This guy just shot right up there because I guess what he was saying was so nuts, and it's August, September.
Guys, look at this guy. He thinks he's John Brown.
No.
In his head, this guy thinks. Lawrence, you're laughing. Look at this guy.
No,
he thinks he's John Brown.
No, this is not just some stupid guy who bumbled into this. This is an intelligent, manipulative guy. You should read what the British papers and the German magazines have been writing about his time in Cologne, Germany, where he has a megalomaniacal streak, and I think he knew exactly what he's doing. I think he knows exactly what he's doing.
There goes that truth.
What he's trying to do is make a linkage between himself.
I want to say, without claiming it, Boehner provided the linkage today. Miss Palin, the former governor, put it out. They were very happy to give this guy his handiwork today, which was there's a connection. I want to tell you, we've got him on tape if anybody questions this. Long interviews with him and his partner down there, Pastor Sapp. No mention of the mosque. All about, I asked him, who do you respect? George W. If George W. told you not to do it, would you do it? I'd still do it. These guys were all along the line. Now they found their life preserver thrown to them by the people on the right. Your thoughts, Ryan?
Well, it really shows how easy it is to manipulate the media at this point, because there are so many people covering this pool. Everybody wants to jump in there, and you have these actors who are newsmakers like Sarah Palin, like John Boehner, who are willing to play along with this sort of thing, and that makes it news.
Lawrence, last thought here. What public good did Boehner or Palin do by linking the mosque with this absurdity, this attempt to ruin everything in the world by saying to the Islamic world, yeah, we're over there feeding you guys, trying to get you an electric grid, trying to get you to the hospital, taking care of your wounded. We really care about your country. We're trying to protect you from terrorism. Oh, by the way, we hate your God, and we're going to burn the Bible on world television. And we're going to give you just what the enemy wants. This could have been bin Laden's favorite weekend.
Yeah,
second favorite.
I mean, it seems like Boehner and Palin painted the imaginary route out of this situation for this guy. You know, he heard them say that, and then he said, okay, well, now that's my position. I'm going to trade my burning of the Quran for the moving of the mosque. And you know, he, in his imagination, has achieved that. And so now, you know, he can call it off. So I definitely think that what you saw in his press statement today was a roadmap laid out for him by John Boehner and Sarah Palin.
Well, we have the cotillion of the culture war all together here now. Anyway, thank you, Gene Robinson. Thank you, Ryan Grimm of Huffington Post. We're trying to get Mariana on tonight, by the way. She's so busy.